All right, well, let's get the party started. Linda Stradinsky's here. Holy moly. She just jumped in, jumped out.
Stop. I'm not going to come
Hi.
in if you call me out.
That's awesome. Welcome to be. I'm glad you're here. And if you want, we'll talk about your person and how to make that happen. In fact, I can use that as an example when you have somebody who's interested but doesn't necessarily want to enroll on their own. So give you guys the details. Let's fix all that.
Hey, you guys, before we get started, can you hear me? So this is my friend, Gay Lewis. You guys have been saying hi to her, so thank you so much. She came over to the house to join the meeting.
I'm glad you're here.
Welcome.
That's fantastic. All right, I got to mute everybody because Eddie's causing too much racket.
Stop.
All right. So thank you guys for being on here. It is Tuesday, and it means a lot for me to see you guys jump on. So if you have any other special little groups that you're a part of, don't forget to send out a message, let them know that we're here. I'm going to go over a couple of things. Basically, the big things I want to go over, again, I try to keep somewhat of the same format, and that is some things are going on with corporate. Looking at the faces that are on here, I think most of you have already downloaded the new Penny app. I encourage you to continue doing that. That has been, for me, what it's done is it's given me some version of structure of contacting people. So when I go on there in the morning and it says, send a message to these people, then that's right up my alley. It's like, do this, done, do this, done, check, 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 check. So it's really given me that structure as far as looking at that. Says to send a message, I send a message. Says to send a message to Bob Durka, message Bob Durka. Says to send a message to Tracy. I actually did that. Said Tracy, so I sent her a message. Said, hey, it says send me a message. I sent April a couple of messages. It says, hey, I'm supposed to check in with you. What are you doing? But I'm letting them know that I'm using the app, and the app is telling me to check in with them. So that's reminding them as well to use the app. And I know Tracy's been using it for her contacts, which is really cool because we do have different contacts. She has a group of friends that she's Facebook friends with, and her connections and my connections are separate. Some of them overlap, but that's a good program. So I would really encourage you to have it, especially for those of you who are like, I really want to do this, but I really don't even know who to contact. And it's giving you information as to who to contact from your network. And a couple of people I sent messages to that were on the list, I didn't know who they were. They were Facebook friends. So I sent them a message, and a couple of them sent a message back. Hey, I'm already in Isagenix. I've been using it for X number of period of time. Thanks for reaching out, blah, blah, blah. Which means that it's somebody that I'm Facebook friends with that, quite honestly, maybe I shouldn't even be Facebook friends because I'm not connected with them any other way. So why they probably friended me maybe from an event, an Isagenix event or something like that, and we're really not friends in any other way. So it's just, again, it's a good guidance for how to do that. So if you haven't downloaded it, I would encourage you to download it. I am going to run a special incentive for the people that have the pro version. So if you have the pro version, just be aware what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week or next week. Since it's Tuesday, I'll probably do it next week. And that is that if you have the pro version and you do an enrollment, then I'm going to reimburse you for your first month of the Penny app. Because I think it's like $12 a month or something like that. So we'll reimburse your Penny app. You know what, I'll do it now. So if you have it already, you guys are on the call. If you have the Penny app right now and you do an enrollment this week, send me a message and I'll reimburse you your $12 for your Penny app, right? But you have to have the pro version. Okay, you don't get reimbursed if you don't have the pro version. So you got to have the Penny app pro version and do an enrollment this month or this week with the 100 BV minimum, and I'll reimburse you. The way you're going to do that, since you're listening and since I'm making this up on the fly, which Tracy absolutely hates, is put it in your subject line when you send the email. Put the subject line Tuesday night incentive for the Penny app, and just put that in the subject line, something like that. Tuesday night incentive Penny app will be sufficient, and that will remind me as to why I'm sending you $12, right? So do that, and because I really think this app is definitely worth the effort. So I would encourage you to do it. Next thing, that's going on with corporate is the new shake. There was a question, and I don't think the person asked the questions on here, and that's okay. But the question was, what is the difference between the whole blend whey product and the regular Isoline shake? The difference that I can tell you that I know, that I'm certain of, and that is that the whole blend vitamin profile is from whole food vitamins, meaning that they're actually extracting the vitamin from the whole food, okay? So they're getting the B6 from the spinach, right, from the spinach plant. So that's the difference. Now, something that I didn't know until it was pointed out, and that is that if you compare labels, it shows the vitamin content on the whole blend is less than the vitamin content on the Isoline. My belief is, and I don't know this for a fact yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct, and that is that if you watch that video, it shows like it uses B6 as an example. Most products, including I'm sure the Isoline shake, that if it says it has B6, it just has that primary B6 product, right? That primary B6 ingredient. However, with the whole shake, with the whole blend, it has the full spectrum of the B vitamins. So it's got there's 6 different versions of the B6 vitamin. And since it comes from the whole plant, you're getting all of that, okay? So you're getting a more dense version of the vitamin, if you will, with the whole blend than you are with the Isoline shake. And I'm telling you right now, if you have to have that conversation with somebody that's new to Isagenix, you're on a losing track, okay? I'm going to tell you as business builders, if you're going to have that conversation, especially if the top person that you're talking to is standing there having this conversation with you with the the hypothetical donut in one hand and the soda in the other hand, and they're asking you about Vitamirs, you've lost the contract, right? You've lost the deal because you're talking to somebody that's asking you questions about something. They're looking for a reason to say no, okay? A lot of times when we're talking to people and we're having to get into the Vitamirs of the product, you're talking to somebody who's looking for a reason to say no, okay? Because everybody that's on here, that I'm looking at on here, has had a great experience from the existing Isagenix shake. Everybody that's on here does have a belief in the fact that Isagenix is going to provide us with a high quality nutrition. And what you should all be selling when you're talking to somebody is you. And you guys have heard me say it a few times. What's the difference between Isagenix and, Shakeology? You. Right? You're the difference because they've got the ability to connect with you. They've got the ability to be followed, to be the accountability of yours. They've got the accountability of this group. They've got all of that. Absolutely, Isagenix is great nutrition. It is fantastic nutrition. But what they're really getting is they're getting you. And that's what they need to feel is they're getting you, they're getting connection to you, and they're getting the leadership that you're going to provide them through their initial journey with the Isagenix shake. So be very cautious if you're going to get into the Vitamirs conversation. And I would send them the link and let them watch it versus trying to explain the differences. It's getting off into the weeds on something unless you are 100% committed to understanding it and the person that you're talking to really knows the difference, then that would be the time you'd have that conversation, okay? So just for you guys to know, I have not yet tried the dairy-free shake. I saw some people had talked about it. I think Michelle talked about it. Some other people talked about it. They really liked it. I have tried, though, the new peanut butter crisp bar, and it's really good. It's very light. And to me, it's something that I can imagine having in the evening when I'm wanting something that's a little bit sweet to kind of kill like a sweet tooth in the evening. I really think that will be a great treat for that time. It's also very high in protein. So if you're looking for something to chew on versus something to drink for your protein boost before bed, it'll actually be a really good bar to have because it's a high protein, low carb bar that you can have before bed. So having that extra protein boost in the evening is always a bonus for most people. And I would really encourage you to look at it in that manner. And if anybody finds any other ways that they like using it, then, you know, shout out, let us know. But it's really good. Okay. See if there's anything else that's the 90-day game plan. I posted it on there. I'm not going to say we're not going to do it. I kind of got to get my brain wrapped around doing it again, because we never do it really, really well, but it does give us something to follow. And there is an action plan there that can allow you to go through that. And if I had enough people that are like, hey, look, I want to get to executive in the course of the next 90 days, then I would say, reach out to me if you're that person. It's like, hey, look, I really want to get there. Then maybe we can develop an action plan where we can kind of be accountability to each other versus having a big group that's kind of going through it. Because what I've found is that the people that, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but the people that really want to get to executive, you're just kind of on a different playing field, right? And it's not bad. It just, you've got a drive that some people just don't have the capacity for at this moment in their life. So if at this moment in your life, you're like, hey, look, I'm going to do it. I want to do it, or at least I want to make a damn good shot at it, then send me a message. We'll do something with it. But you've got to be like, this is really what I'm going to do. And you're going to go through the steps. Because what I think we've done in the past is we've kind of put this 90-day game plan out there. And then the people are like, really not that excited about it. They kind of they feel like they're falling off. And that's not really what I want people to feel like. I don't want anybody to feel like that they're falling off of the ability to make it happen. Okay. So that's that's kind of the corporate Isagenix thing. Now, I was told that they're going to have another shake that's going to get released possibly next month. So I think there's yet another shake that's going to come out next month as part of the new 90-day, as part of that 90-day game plan that corporate is doing. Okay. So they'll continue to do some things like that and kind of keep the momentum of celebration up. Okay. So don't be surprised if you see something else come out. As soon as I know, like, yes, it's actually coming out, and if I find out what it actually is, then I'll let you guys know because I want to do that. The next thing, and this is a lot, you guys, because there's a lot going on, but the next thing is there's been a couple of you that have reached out about doing a push week or a business week or whatever you want to call it week next month. And I'm all about that. I think that's fantastic. I also think that it's not necessary that we all do the exact same week. So if some of you are wanting to run a push week within your team, then don't hesitate to do that. I will pick a week in August and we will do one as overall. And if a couple people all kind of find that works for them as well, then that's what we'll do. But don't feel like, hey, look, if this week's not going to work, because I know that some of, with all the COVID stuff that's going on, some schools are kicking back in, some schools aren't. Everybody's going to kind of have a different thing going on in August. But I really think it's going to be important that we do a push week in August. And mostly that's because some of you are doing really well on your Fiji points acquisitions. And I really want to make sure that you're continuing through that, especially through September. Because there's a real key for those of you who've been following us on the Focus on Fiji mindset is through September is kind of a goal, because we want to get people to the executive level by the end of September so that they have their right amount of time to be executive in order to qualify for the trip. So that's something that I really want to push for, and I'd love to do that in August. Okay. All right. On my notes here, I've got, I want to touch on Linda's question because some of you heard me talk about it. So Linda sent me a message earlier today saying that she had somebody who was a preferred customer who had recently come back. Hey, thanks. Who had just recently come back, and they knew somebody that wanted to get started. So they were considering doing an enrollment. So I'm going to use Todd because I can see his face. So if Todd says, hey, Brent, I've got, I want to enroll somebody. I've got somebody that wants to enroll. I'm always going to ask this question. Are you interested in, are you trying to do this fantastic? Are you going to do the business? If he's new, or if let's say he's been around for a while and he tells me this. Yeah, I'm going to enroll him, but I really don't know what to do with him. If he's a preferred customer, I'm going to say, well, let's get you converted to associate so that you can get paid. The minute that they say, I really don't want to do all that, I just want to get this person started because they want to get started. If Todd wants to stay as a preferred customer, he doesn't want to change to an associate because he doesn't want to pay the $30 membership fee to be an associate, then I'm going to simply ask this question. If you don't want to pay that fee, how about I enroll them, I'll put them under you, and I will pay you whatever PIB you would have gotten. Okay. Now, if it's 100 BV, if Todd says, hey, I've got my friend Michelle, she wants to get started, she wants to buy a 30-day. Fantastic. Do you want to convert to an associate? No, I really don't want to do that because I don't want to spend 30 bucks. You realize that you're going to get $25 to convert to an associate because you're going to enroll her with a 30-day. Yeah, but I just don't want to do that. Okay, fine. How about I give you $25? I'll enroll Michelle and I'll put her in your downline. And he says, fine with me. I just wanted the 25 bucks. Outstanding. Let's connect me with Michelle so she knows who I am. Let's get her in the Facebook page, right? Let's get her in the IsaBody challenge if at all possible, but connect her with me and I'm going to send you 25 bucks. Okay. I know two things are going to happen from that. One, Todd got some cash, so he's cool with that. And two, Michelle just got connected with somebody that I know, because I'm that person, is going to make sure that she gets all of the assistance she needs through her first 30 days. Because Todd's just busy, not really interested in the business side of it, not really that worried about it, right? So I want Michelle to have the best experience possible and with the coaching and such. So I'm going to make sure that I can take care of her on that, okay? So I would encourage all of you, if you have somebody on your team that rarely enrolls anybody, that's set as a preferred customer, reach with them, contact them, say, please, 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 let me be the enrolling sponsor, or let me help you do this correctly and get them enrolled and educate the person correctly and get them connected correctly and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. I know, Carla, I know you've done it several times. You and I have talked about it. We've done it. So that's a good way to do it. Okay. So that's somebody's talking. Whoop, if anybody's talking bad about you, bro, it's not, that wasn't what I was trying to bring on. I was not trying to bring that on. All right. All right. So anyway, that was the question that Linda had, and that's kind of how I directed her to do that. Okay. The next thing is kind of a thought process that I want you guys to have. If you have someone who is on your team who's just not doing it, okay, they're just not really interested in doing the business for whatever reason, I want you guys to take something into consideration. And I was talking to somebody else on the team about this today, and that is this. Some people are target driven. Okay, let's say, how many of you on here, and actually you don't have to raise your hand or whatever, but many of us on here know somebody who's in another direct sales company, let's say, but it's a product driven company, like candles, like jewelry, like pottery, like something like that, right? And we just can't understand why we can't get them to Isagenix. Okay, you can't understand why the person that sells the candles, or you can't understand why you can't get the person that sells the jewelry or the sweatpants or the sweat outfits. We can't understand why we can't get them to our team. I've thought a lot about this, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that some people are just, they're end goal driven, meaning that if I sell you a item, I know I'm going to get paid, right? If I can drive for a specific item and sell it, I'm going to make $5. I'm going to make $10. I'm going to make $100, whatever it is. I'm going to get that, and I know I'm going to get that. Whereas in Isagenix, they don't know that. You don't know that when you're out there connecting and talking and sharing, if it's really going to turn into anything. You don't know that if you're making the social media post, or that you're making this, or that you're having this sip and sample or something like that, you don't know that it's going to turn into anything. But you know that if you sell a item and he buys it, I'm going to get paid. So just realize that there's just a different mindset, and some people are never going to get there. And a lot of people leave Isagenix for that same reason. They leave because they're like, well, I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting paid. yeah, I'm running through the motions, but I'm not getting paid. And they don't understand that the most money you're ever going to make is really going to show up when you're working the least. But that's not going to happen until way down the line. You're going to work really, really hard in this business for a very long period of time, and then you're going to be able to make some money. And it's not that way for somebody that sells pottery or jewelry or pans or something along those lines, which I'm not knocking those things at all, because you can make a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that make a lot of money doing it. I'm just saying that a lot of times, if you're having trouble helping somebody connect with the idea of Isagenix and they're really having difficulty with it, it might be because they're fixated on the fact that if I do X, Y, and Z, I get 25 bucks. And that's not the way it is with this company. I mean, you get the PIB, but it's not the same, right? Because in this business, again, making the PIB, Dan Ferguson, you say it all the time, nobody's getting rich off of PIB, right? You're making a little bit of money from the PIB. You're making a lot of money by maintaining a relationship and getting that person to share and enjoy the product, right? I just looked at our deals today. We're at 29,110 people on the team. Okay, so you guys probably saw when we made 29,000. We've now, another 110 people have enrolled on the team since we made the 29,000, and it's all due to the majority of you that are on here. Okay, that work that's happening is what's making the money. And some of you, I can see your downlines are really growing. And I mean, and when I'm saying really, I mean like they're growing because you're doing a little, but the teams that you have are doing more. And that's where you really start seeing the benefit of this business. When you start seeing people on the bottom of your tree that are being put there by somebody other than you. Because a lot of us, we spend, and we've done it, we still do it, and we're sitting there building and putting people down there and putting people down there and putting people down there. And I can look at the bottom. I'll tell you guys this right now. I can look at the bottom of my right side, and I promise you the last 8 to 10 people that are there have been put there by me. Okay, by me and Tracy. That is because we are constantly enrolling people on that leg. And April, I bet you she could look on her left side and she could see the majority of the people that are on that bottom left side of her have been put there by her. Okay, and that's because we're constantly enrolling people. When you start seeing people being put at the bottom of your tree by somebody other than you, you know that you've got something going. And then that momentum has to take off. You've got to capture that momentum. When you start seeing it, okay, some of you aren't seeing it yet, but when you start seeing it and you see, oh, wow, Michelle Gilbert, I don't know who Michelle Gilbert is, but she enrolled somebody on my team. Wow, she did it again. You better be reaching out to that person. I don't care how, don't care if you know them, don't care if you kind of know them, whatever. You need to reach out to that person and say, hey, I saw you enroll somebody, that's fantastic. Because if they're putting them on your outside legs, okay, that's key. They're putting them on those outside legs, something's going on, right? They're trying to get to they're trying to get to director, they're trying to get to executive. Maybe they figured that out and they're starting to put people on their right and their left, their right and their left. Because a lot of people just focus on their inside leg. Okay, and some of you, this makes sense to, right? You're constantly putting people on your inside leg because the outside leg's doing fantastic, right? Some of you don't have that blessing, but you will, and at some point it's going to happen. So just be aware of that. When you start seeing somebody putting people down there, you need to be connecting with that person and making sure that they know that you're there to help them, support them, whatever it is that you can do. Okay. Any questions on that? Because sometimes people get a little bit confused when I start talking about inside, outside leg, but I want to make sure everybody gets it. Everybody good? Thoughts? Okay. How about has anybody, I will ask this question. For those of you who know people that are in other network marketing businesses where they actually sell a product, is what, because I've just been thinking about this a lot lately, is what I say makes sense about the whole product driven, the sale driven, or is there something else that you see that you think would cause them to be more driven or not driven towards Isagenix?
No, it's totally that, because that's one of the selling points is, oh, if you need money, go host a party. if you need it, you know, you need $300 this week, go host 3 parties this week or next week and you'll get it. Like that is a lot of what we used to say is that. And the investment is different than it is, you know, that is the number one thing is it is the right now. And also speaking from doing that for so long, how long did it take me to understand that? I mean, Brent was talking to me about this, and I'm all about relationships, but I'm still thinking, is this going to make me money right now? So yes, that is definitely what drives those people all the time. You had to tell me at least a dozen times, this is for the long haul. This is for the long haul. And I think I part of when I got it too is when Todd showed me his tree, when he showed me his BV and how it had flipped. And I'll never forget it because he showed it to me when we were sitting at having sushi, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't get it until you guys had to keep telling me. So that's definitely it. And that's a hard thing to overcome. I'm talking to a lot of Party Light people right now, and just trying to love on them and build a relationship with them. And, you know, one of them said to me today, you found passion outside of Party Light. I can't believe you did. And I said, I did. And you can too. I would hire you in a heartbeat, but this is a different mindset. And we'd have to talk about that.
Yeah. And I think we can all learn, and thanks for that, Carla, because that means, because I think about that all the time, because I'll tell you guys this, there's a couple that I know that are in the Gilbert area, and I know and they've been on the Isagenix team at one point. One of our team members enrolled them, and they have done every version of whatever the newest clothing line that comes out, LuLaRoe or whatever, all of them, right? They've done that one. Now they're doing the other one that's out there now, whatever. There's several of them, right? And then they also did doTERRA for a little while. But then they went back to this clothing thing. And I'm just like, I just don't get it, because for me, this whole concept, because I saw one time they did a video and they showed their garage. And in their garage, they had all these clothes hanging up, and they had all these boxes that they had to put together, and they had all this stuff that they had to ship out. Can you guys imagine, right? For those of you who have got anybody at all that's ordering from you on a regular basis or any downlines happening, can you imagine if you personally were responsible for receiving shipments of Isagenix products? You had to store them in your garage. You had to repackage them all, put them into individual boxes, put a little shipping label on them, zip them all up, and then send it off to them. And then when Todd got his box and he says, oh, I ordered the powdered Ionix, not the liquid Ionix, he's got to contact you, going to send it back to you, then you got to send him can you imagine? And you're going to hit a limit, a terminal limit, right? You're only going to be able to do that for so many people, right? Or else you're going to have to create a whole business where I'm going to have all of you in my garage or at my storage facility every week, every Monday, and then we're all going to get all this shit and we're all going to put it in these boxes and ship it all off.
So let me tell you another thing to be leery of. I think of that so when you become an executive, if you join somebody and you become an executive right away, they front load you money. You know, like I'll just tell you guys, we made $17,000 in the first 4.5 months. And so they really front load you money. So that is, and I think we all know somebody who's got to executive, got that front loaded money, and then now they're gone. But I will tell you that Brent and Tracy sat Jason and I both down and said that exact thing. They're going to front load you money. I'm just letting you know they're going to front load you money, and it's going to plateau. And he showed me his cycles, and he showed me how it goes. And then all of a sudden you're going to get to that point where it just goes up. But I bring this to your attention because he had that conversation with us. And if you have somebody like that on your team, or you meet somebody that's going to go like that, you got to tell them, because they're going to get paid just like the product people are going to get paid a lot of money. And then it's, we didn't make $17,000 the next 4 months. We had to work for it, and we had to keep going, and, but we all know that people that has happened to. So just something. And I'm glad that you had that conversation, because I might have said, what the hell's going on? how come I'm not making that money anymore? And we might have bailed.
Yeah. Well, and I'll, Michaela, I hope it's okay. I'm going to use you as an example because Michaela's going for executive, right? So I'm telling everybody, right? I'm telling everybody your stories, Michaela. So I know that she's going for executive because she's told me she's going for executive, and I know that she's going to head for executive, which means Michaela will get executive. That's what that means. So she's going to hit it, right? She's going to get paid along the way. She's going to get manager money, or actually she's a director now, so she's going to get director bonus money, and she's going to make some extra cash during that time. The cautious thing I would tell you is in Isagenix, it's not about, everybody says it is, but it's not. It's not about hitting executive. It's about kicking the executive bell as you go by, right? A lot of people think that it's getting up there, reaching up and slapping the bell and saying, boom, I made it. It's not. It's about going past it and then kick the bell when you go by it. And what I mean by that is don't over celebrate, which we celebrate the hell out of you for hitting executive, because it is a big deal to hit it, right? Because you got to have 5 consultants on your left and 5 consultants on your right. For those of you who are listening that don't know what that is, you've got to have 5 consultants on your left, 5 consultants on your right in order to be executive. And all 10 of those consultants have to be active at the exact same time. And anybody that has created even a couple of consultants realizes how fast people become consultants and then are not, right? So you've got these plates, right? These spinning plates that you've got to keep spinning, right? All along, right? So you're constantly running around like a circus clown trying to keep all these plates spinning. So you're trying to keep all your consultants engaged. That's why you've got to go past that, right? I was telling Michaela, you know what, let's get to 7 or 8 consultants on one side and then hit that number 5 on your other side. Because when you get 7 or 8 on one side, now you've got you got 8 spinning. Now you can go over and focus on getting these others going. Okay. And by getting all those plates going, because if I get 7 or 8 spinning, if 1 or 2 falls off, I'm still good over there, so I can keep working over here. But if all I've got is 5 and 5, I'm like running up and down like Banshee trying to keep them all running, and it's difficult. So, because the money from this business comes from to hit the real money in Isagenix is getting executive. Because here's what happens at executive. If you get to executive, and Kelly, you're gonna experience this now. You didn't experience it when you hit it before, but you're gonna experience it now. When you hit executive now, what's going to be different this next time when you get it versus before is you have at least one person on your team that you've personally enrolled that is making cycles happen. Okay. When that happens, you get what's called executive match. So, and I'm gonna focus just on my sister alone. Okay. April cycles someplace around, I don't know, 30 to 40 cycles a week, right? So she cycles around 30 to 40 cycles a week. I get 10% of all of our consultant cycles, but just specifically, let's just talk about April's. If April cycles 40 times in a week, I get 4 extra cycles paid to me, right? So, because I get 10%. So if she cycles 40 times, actually, because Isagenix, if she cycles 35 times, they give me 4, right? Because they round up, right? So if April cycles 35 times, I get 4 extra cycles. What's 4 extra cycles? They're $54 a piece, right? That's $216 extra per week, right? Just from hers. So when you get to executive next time, and you've got Michaela cycling 5, 6, 10 times, you're getting an extra 1 to 2 cycles a week just because Michaela's doing so well. And I'm going to give you guys some, and this is going a little bit different than where I was headed with this call, but you guys, Andy Bowman told me this a long time ago, and I just didn't believe it. And it took me until literally probably, I don't know, maybe a year ago before I really believed it. It takes 2 people, and it really does. It only takes 2, but you got to find those 2, and they're going to be hard for you to find. Okay. But it takes 2 people. if I've got one really good person builder on my left, and I've got one really good builder on my right, you have literally created a legacy. You've created a legacy. You're going to get paid forever. And I mean that, you guys. That's the difference between Isagenix and so many other companies. If you've got one really strong person that's really doing the business on your left, and you've got one really strong person that's doing the business on your right, you are going to get paid forever. And your goal is to get that person to where they don't care if you, I shouldn't say they don't care, but if you die in a car crash, it's not going to change their world. They're going to continue forward. Okay. And I know, and I'll say this, I know that Carla is so engaged in this business, and she's found such a passion in this business that she might be sad if I died, but if I did, she's going to continue to work, right? And that's what you want. You want to find those people on your team. Exactly. You want to find those people on your team that are going to continue with or without you. And that's why I would tell you guys, if you're in a position where you're like, and I had another team member reach out to me, and I don't think they're on here right now. So I had another person reach out to me, and they said, well, I'm really not connected with my upline, right? Whoever their sponsor was, they weren't really connected with them. And I said, you need to disconnect with them faster. The faster you disconnect with them, the better. I'm glad all you guys are connected to me. I really am. And I'm glad you guys take the time to come on here on Tuesday calls. Nothing would make me happier than to see you build your own teams and say, hey, Brent, can you jump on one of my team calls? That's my goal. My goal is for you guys to build your team and ask me to jump on a team call. Hey, Brent, I can't be on your Tuesday team call because I've got a team call that I'm doing. Right? But I would love if you could jump on my team call on this day or that day. Because if you guys build your teams with that same mindset that I want this person and this person to be the builders on my team, and I want them to someday go off on their own and say, hey, call me and be on my team call, right? Jump in as a special guest, but don't do it too soon, okay? Because if you do it too soon, if you take the training wheels off before you're ready and you don't really figure it out, or you don't have enough support around you, then you're going to fall over, and I don't want that to happen to you. But you guys, this business is amazing, and it can really, really, really be everything you want it to be. But finding those two people is a lot of work. It's worth it. Don't get me wrong, it's worth it, but it's a lot of work. And I hope all of you stay long enough to make that happen. Now, I'm going to give you the next level of excitement, right? Because to me, that's super exciting to know that I can make that happen. But the next level of excitement, because the way Isagenix works, it doesn't matter if you found them. Okay? Here's the really cool thing. It doesn't matter if you found that person. I did not enroll Carla. Okay? I did not enroll Kelly. I enrolled April, right? I enrolled Bob. I'm looking at the people that are on here that I enrolled. I think that's it. I enrolled Tracy. But outside of that, I didn't enroll anybody else, right? So this is why it's so cool in the way this business is designed. You can have somebody that shows up on your team that you didn't enroll, and that is your right side rock star, or that is your left side rock star.
Hey, Brent.
Oh, I didn't enroll Kelly. I said I enrolled Kelly.
No, you said you didn't. But Brent, would this be a good time to talk? Somebody asked in the chat what that meant when Todd got his tree flipped.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I will. Yeah, and we enrolled Kelly. And here's the thing, when Kelly now has taken, I mean, Kelly, you've enrolled a lot of people. How many people have you enrolled?
100.
100 people, right? Mm-hmm. That's legit, guys. So she's spent, but okay, so I'm going to drive down on this because I know where it's headed. Of that 100 people that you've enrolled, how many have had how many consultants do you think you've started? Like, how many personal consultants have you had ever? You know?
Maybe close to 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
so 20,
no, more than that because I don't get paid anymore when I create a consultant.
Okay, so let's say 30. So let's say you've enrolled 100 people, and of that 100, 30 have become consultants. How many consultants do you have active right now?
5.
5. And of those 5 consultants, how many of them cycle every single week?
Every single week, probably just Michaela. Maybe my sister. No, not my sister. Probably just Michaela.
Okay. And here's why I'm telling you guys it's so important. Because a lot of people will think that, oh my gosh, you've got all these consultants, or you've done all this, or you're doing all this, then it's just, it must be amazing, right? It's not. It's a constant enrollment program, because you've got to be constantly enrolling. And what you're doing, Kelly, is ideal, because what's happened now is, and Michaela, how long have you been in Isagenix?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years. And when did you really decide to start taking off?
March.
Okay. So that's another huge key for you guys. Don't give up on somebody that you've enrolled that just didn't take off today. Right? It just wasn't their time for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter why. I would tell you, don't even ask the question, because it doesn't matter. What matters is when they decide to take off, that you are there to support them. And the problem is that a lot of you will leave before that happens. You will leave this business before somebody in your downline decides it's their time. Right? And then you're going to go, oh. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to step in and I'm going to say, hey, I know that your downline left a while back, but I'm here because I'm going to be here. Right? And since I'm here, I'm going to help them. And that's the great thing about Isagenix. It doesn't matter if they leave. Because if they leave and you're there, you're still going to be able to help them grow their business, help them do everything they can do, and they still benefit you the exact same way. Right? This business is really designed to help you be successful no matter where you're at. Okay? Does that make sense? Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Michaela, for sharing that.
Brent, I got a question.
Go ahead.
So on the executive match, let's say Michaela gets to executive in October and then I get back to executive in November. Do I then still get executive match even though she got to it before I got back?
No, if she gets to executive before you do, you lose her. She completely comes out of your tree. No, absolutely.
No. Okay, but like if you get, isn't there a situation where if you get an executive before you do, you don't?
Nope. Nope. There's companies out there like that, but not
Well,
here.
if you're not active, something about consultants too. If you're not active, maybe, and you could create a consultant, you don't get that consultant bonus.
You lost me.
I lost myself. Okay, so if you're an associate, you don't have 100 BV, but then you create a consultant, you will not get that consultant bonus, correct?
That is something that I'm still not 100% sure of, because that's good. Go ahead.
That's true. That happened to my brother.
Okay.
We ended up being able to put in an order by, I think it was in the same
week, probably.
Day. It was the same day. It had to be the same day. And he got it, but it didn't show up until, like, normally, you see in Isopulse too, like so-and-so just enrolled someone or so-and-so just got to consultant. His didn't say that until after he put in his order.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. And the question, just so you guys know, and to make sure I understand the question correctly, is let's say that Leslie, right? I'll quit picking on Todd. Let's say that Leslie is not active as an associate. Okay. She's just not active at all. She's fallen. She just hadn't placed an order. And Leslie had enrolled Bob, and Bob becomes a consultant. When somebody you've personally enrolled becomes a consultant, you're supposed to make $100 for your first 20. Okay. However, if you are not active as an associate, you do not get that $100. Okay. Which makes sense to me. Like, why should you get paid if you're not active, but that's correct. So that would be accurate. But as far as like how your executive match happens, when you're now, you do have to be executive for the entire week, right? So you have to be executive from Sunday midnight, right, to Sunday midnight in order to qualify for executive match on your teammates or on your person enrolled. Okay. So if you fall out of executive during that week, then you would not get that executive match. Okay. Is there anybody on here who doesn't understand executive match? Because I really, that's important.
Whoop asked a really good question.
Okay.
Didn't you miss out on something because April hit executive before you?
No. No,
You're
I never missed out on. I never missed out on anything because of that. I missed out. I'll tell you one, Kelly.
No.
You cost me a few $1,000s one time.
No, let's not talk about it.
Because you fell out of consultant while I was at executive, and I didn't realize it. And because you fell out, I missed out on a bonus. And I think it was a big one because it was during a pool bonus. And I think it cost us like a couple $1,000. And I'm not even kidding. Like,
I remember.
Yeah.
I think you called me crying, actually.
I might have.
Tracy knows the exact amount. She just typed in the exact amount. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So,
okay, don't forget to talk about the tree flip.
All right. Now I'm going to talk about well, let me finish the executive match. So, executive match. And this is actually a really great conversation because a lot of times you don't go this high. And so for those of you who are listening to this and you're going, I'm not even close. I'm not even a manager. Why does this matter to me? The reason it should matter to you is two reasons. One, it's possible. Okay. This is money that's possible to you. Okay. The other reason is because it's really important for you to know the ways that we get paid in this business so that when you meet somebody who's interested in network marketing, who maybe is a network marketer, and you're wanting to explain to them the other ways that we get paid other than just cycling or other than just PIB, you know how to explain that. Or at least you can have some version of a conversation with them until you can connect them to me or somebody else that can explain it to them equally well. Okay, so it is important that way. So executive match is this. Step one, you have to be an executive. Step two, every Sunday, just before midnight Eastern Standard Time, I pull the Isagenix business payroll or business builder report. Okay, so I go to reports, I go to action, and then it's got the business blueprint. Okay, pull that every Sunday evening. Every Sunday evening, because if I do it just before midnight, it's going to show me every consultant that we have that's active right at that moment. And it's going to give me a total of how many times those consultants have cycled. Okay, so I go down, it goes down through them. It lists, April's always at the top because she's our number one consultant or number one, she's number one consultant, whatever. She's the number one person on that list. And then it lists them numerically down to who's ever cycled one time. Okay, it adds all of them up. So let's say April cycles, 40 times, and somebody else cycles 5, and somebody else cycles 3, and somebody else cycles 2 and 1, and Bob's on there, he cycles 2 times, and Kelly's on there because she's cycling, 8, 10, 11 times, and it adds all of those up. And then it gives me a total, and that total, let's say, is 62. Okay, actually, we'll make it better. It's 65. If it's 65, Isagenix rounds up. So Isagenix pays us 7 cycles bonus. Okay, because you get 10%. So 65, rounded up, 7 cycles. Okay, if it's 64, it rounds down and pays us 6 cycles. Okay, so you get those bonus cycles every week, and it's based off of the total. Now, some of you, when you get to executive, Michaela, when you get to executive, you're going to look at that, and there's going to be a whole bunch of, might have 2 or 3 or 4 people that have cycled. As long as you get 5 or more, they're going to pay you a bonus cycle. So if out of your 10 consultants, you can get at least 5 total cycles, then that's going to give you 1 executive match cycle that's going to get paid that same week. So let's say you personally cycled 7 times, you're going to get 1 bonus cycle. So you're actually going to get paid for 8 cycles. That is what executive match is. Okay. And that's how it works. And it every week. And that's why it's so important. And I'm going to use this one before, and then I'm going to talk about the tree flip. That's why it's so important, you guys. Never, ever give your people away. Because who do you not get executive match on? Anybody you didn't personally enroll that is cycling. Okay. So if April would have come along, right? Or let's say, I'll use Kelly. Kelly comes along, and Kelly's like, hey, I want to get started, but I'm not going to do the business, blah, 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 because she had no interest in doing the business. And she says, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that business. And I go, you know what? I really want to help my sister become a consultant, or I want to help Bob become a consultant because I'd enrolled all those people. So let's say I give Kelly to Bob. So I make Kelly Bob's personally enrolled in order to help him become a consultant. So Bob becomes a consultant. I made $100. Woo! Yay me, right? Fantastic. That's amazing, right? I made $100. Okay. Fast forward, Kelly, how long ago did you get enrolled?
Almost 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Almost.
Over those 6 years, I mean, right now, I mean, Kelly cycles, let's say Kelly cycles easily 5+ times. How long? Well, I'll put it this way. How long have you been cycling 5 times or more a week? How long?
I don't know, a while. I can't remember the last time
2 years?
At least, yeah.
2 years. So let's say that for 2 years, she has been cycling 5 times or more a week. Let's say that every week I got paid an extra cycle, because if she cycles 5 times or more, right? That's a cycle for me. That's a bonus cycle. So I've made an extra $54 a week off of Kelly for 2 years, right? She's barely paid her money back. So that she cost me. But now how exciting is it that I made $100 because I gave her to Bob? Not nearly as exciting, right? Because I made Bob $100, but that ain't exciting now because I just missed out on a cycle a week for 2 years, guys. Right? That's where, again, that's where this excitement of this business and the excitement of this company comes from. Because if I'd have given her away because she wasn't interested in the business, and I know some of you have done this, I know some of you have done it because we've done it. You've had somebody say, hey, I want to get enrolled. And you've been like, oh, you know what? I know you don't really want to do the business. So I've got a friend that wants to be a consultant. So I'm going to assign you to them. And boom, now they're a consultant. And you're like, yay me, I made $100. And yay you made a consultant. And then 30 days later, your friend who you helped become a consultant is telling you, yeah, I really just don't see this as my thing. And they're gone. And now that person that you gave them is like, well, this is kind of interesting. I don't mind it. I'm going to stay around. And then they become your Michaela. They become the person that sat on your tree for 4 years, ordering their products, doing their thing. And then 4 years later, they decided, hey, I want to become an executive. And you're going, damn, I wish I wouldn't have given Michaela away. Because now that person that you gave away, they're gone. Michaela's doing fantastic. She's doing great. And you're happy for her because she's part of your team, but she's not one of your executive match people. Okay. She's not part of your executive match. And that's where it's so important that you guys understand the power of that. And that's why when you hear people say getting to executive is where the really, really big part of Isagenix comes from, that's where it comes from. That's when you start accessing this extra $750 a month. Carla's getting ready to make it this month, right, Carla? She's going to make the $750 this month.
Right? Yes, first one ever.
First one ever, right? So first time ever, she's going to get the $750 executive lifestyle bonus. Because if you stay executive for the entire month, you get the bonus. And that's a big deal, you guys. So $750 a month plus executive match, that's why you want to become executive. Not for that fast money that Carla was talking about. All right. Any questions about the executive match? We good? Okay. All right. So let's see. I'll do the tree flip visually here. Okay. So in Isagenix, the way this works is change my colors. the way this works, or the way this will work, and I'm gonna tell you guys this is the way that it will work, because here's what's gonna happen to you. Every one of you that chooses to stay, and I don't mean, and I'm gonna say something, and some of you guys, this may hit home. I'm not talking to you, although you might think I'm talking to you, but I'm not talking to you. Some of you are saying, I'm never leaving, but you're not doing anything either. So if you're never leaving, but you're not enrolling people, this may not happen for you, okay? You have got to be enrolling people for this to happen to you, okay? Please know that. And I'm not bashing on anybody that's saying, hey, I'm never leaving, but isn't doing anything. I'm glad you're here. I think it's fantastic, because obviously this is a passion for you, and you love it, and you like the community, and you love that involvement. But if the money is what you want, if you need this money for whatever it is, whether it's your passion, whether it's it's something that you need in order to pay a house payment, whatever the case might be, this is how it's going to happen for you, okay? You're going to enroll people, okay? And you're going to enroll, and they're going to enroll people, and this tree is going to get built, and things are going to happen. And, you know, somebody down here is going to take off and do something amazing, and they're going to create a downline, and all this is happening, okay? In this little squiggly scenario, right, this side becomes your major volume side, because this side has got, let's say this side's got, I don't know, let's say this side's got 150 people on it, okay? And this side's got 3 people on it. And you're like, this is amazing, life's going good. You know, you're cycling, you know, once in a while, you know, once this week and not any times, and then you're cycling once. And this is what your cycles look like. 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and it's going along that way. And this side over here is growing still, you know, there's still some people doing some stuff, and they're making something happen, right? And this side's, you know, now it's got 180 people on it, right? And you've got, let's say you've got 5,000 points built up on this side. And you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. I got 5,000 points. And then you look at it a month from now or 2 months from now, and you've got 8,000 points built up over there, okay? Isagenix will allow you to continue to accumulate these points, right? All they're doing is they're waiting for you to bring up 300 points from this side, because every time 300 points comes up from this side, this person's going to cycle, because it's going to say, the system's going to go, oh, there's 300 points here. Let's take those points, and then let's take 600 points up here, and let's pay them a cycle, right? That's how the system works. So every time 300 points comes up one side, it recognizes that, it takes 600 points out of your power side, and you're going to cycle. It just keeps happening. You're like, oh, that's cool, and you're cycling, and life's going along. Now here's what happened to Woob, okay? I'll continue to use the same one. It doesn't matter. So here's what happened to Woob. He had an inside leg, and his inside leg was kicking along. And I know this isn't right, Woob, but it doesn't matter. But he had this inside leg, and this inside leg was growing, and this is his inside leg. Okay. So he had these 8,000 points sitting there. He had points sitting there, how many it was. And then on this side, this outside leg, because his sponsor was up here, right? That's why I call it the outside leg, because it's the leg your sponsor was on. And he had some stuff going on down here, you know, he'd enrolled some people, and there's a few consultants down here that had kind of done some stuff. And so, you know, this side was kicking along, and it might have had, let's say, 100 people on it. But his inside leg had, you know, 180 people on it. Well, what happened was eventually is that Carla ended up down here. Okay. So eventually your Carla, whatever that is, whoever that person ends up being, your Carla ends up down there. And she's like, hey, I've got network marketing experience. I know how to do this. And she takes off. And then what happens is that now instead of just 300 points coming up, he's got 300 points coming up like on auto repeat, right? And so every time 300 points comes up, Woob's like, dang, I'm cycling. He's cycling, he's cycling, cycling. And now what happens is this side starts bringing up points faster then this side's gaining them. So this side's losing points now. It's gone from 8,000 down to 6,000 because it's losing points. It's gone down to 5,000, still losing points. It's gone down to 3,000 because he's still losing points. It's gone down to 1,000 because because this side's burning up those points, right? And then eventually what happens is this side gets down to where it's now waiting, right? Because let's say this side now has, I don't know, let's say this side's got 500 points on it, right? So actually, let me flip that. This side's got now down 200 points. This side's now down to 200 points left over. So now he's just now turned this into his 600 leg. So now he has to have 600 points come up here because now this side's bringing up more volume. And he's waiting for 100 points to show up from over here so he can cycle. Because when 100 points shows up over here, now he's at 300. I know this is kind of messy, you guys. I apologize. So now he's got his bank over here has got, sorry. Stop letting me draw, hang on. Okay, so now what's happened is he's got this 100, because this side over here still has 180 people on it because it's just not growing as fast, right? Maybe it's got, I don't know, let's say it's got 200 on it. So it's got 200 on it, so he's added 20 people. But in the meantime, what's happened over here is this side has now got 500 people on it because you got your Carla that showed up in your tree, or your Michaela, or your Kelly, or your April, or whoever it is, right? Somebody that really wanted to run this business showed up on your tree and took off. And then what happens is this side is now producing more volume. So now this side's got 1,600 points sitting on it, and it's waiting for, because this side's got 200 sitting here, and you're waiting for this side to bring up more points. And that's what's called flipping your tree. And it can happen to any one of you. And some of you, it's happening to you every single week, every day, because you just don't have any, you don't have a builder down there. You don't have somebody on your team that's as passionate about this as a business as you are. And that's where it changes. It really does. It changes when you have somebody on your team that's as passionate about making money from this business as you are. And when that happens, crazy things happen. Does that make sense? Can't see everybody's faces, so I'm going to stop sharing here.
Hey, Brent, can I say something to that?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Just to speak to that, I know we have some people that are new to doing the business, and I know from day one, Brent and Dan told me, you know, you stay with this business long enough, you will find your Carla or your Kelly. Those people will come into your life. So just keep going. Because I still remember the day when I could look at the bottom of my tree and knew every person that was in my tree that I enrolled. And every time I checked it and thought, oh, somebody new's in there. My upline put somebody in there. You know, you have those days where you know everybody that's in there. And now you get to the point where you don't know everybody in there because you look in there and there's all these new people. So truly what Brent says about just sticking with it and staying with it and staying with it and putting your time in, you'll find your Carla and your Leslie and your whoever's on these calls. So I just wanted to speak to that.
No, that's very true. And that's what happens is it's just, so many people just leave too soon. Now, and I'm going to go back to what I said before, but you've got to do the work, you guys. You've got to do the enrollments. You've got to get the Penny app, right? You've got to do these things, right? Maybe the Penny app isn't your thing, but if the Penny app isn't your thing, but you don't have another thing, then do the Penny app until you've got your other thing. Okay? Because some of you will go, well, that's really not my thing. What is your thing? Well, I don't really know. Well, then you better get the Penny app and try that until you find out what your thing is. Because something is going to work for you. But if you're not trying those different things along the way, you're never going to find what works. You just won't, because you're not trying anything. So you got to do that stuff. You just got to go through the motions, and you're going to screw up. You're going to have failure after failure after failure, you guys. And that failure is fine, just as long as you don't make it final. Right? And so many times people fail and then they just like, screw it, I'm out. Instead of staying with it and really understanding the value of staying here. Because you guys, there is nothing I want more. And I was teasing April today because she's like super close. I think, how many cycles you at, sis?
I haven't looked since we talked.
Okay. So she's within like 2 or 3 cycles of me right now, right?
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. So,
Well, that doesn't last till Sunday.
well, whatever. But it's cool to see it, right? And I called her because I want to give her grief about it and tell her that's not allowed. But it's really cool to see it. And I would love to see her income pass ours.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
gonna make it hard. I'm gonna make it hard for it to happen, right? Because I'm like, I got at least a little bit of brother ego. So I'm gonna make it hard for that to happen, but there would be nothing that would make me happier than to see that. Right? And the same game goes for all of you guys. There's nothing that would make me happier than to see all of you guys on the 6-figure income earner board. Because, and I want you to think about that. What would that really mean to you to earn $100,000 a year from Isagenix? Right? It's a significant amount of money no matter where you get it from. And it's an amazing amount of money when you're getting it from here, when you know that means, what that means is that thousands of people that have been brought into Isagenix because of you are A, getting healthier, but B, and this is big to me because we've been on the other end of this, are earning an income that means something, right? It means a lot. You know, Bob knows, he's been with me forever. April knows, been with me forever. Kelly knows because she's been around us forever. We, you know, I keep it here for those of you who may not have seen it for a while, right? This is our jar of pain, right? It's all of our credit cards we've ever chopped up, right? Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. But I keep that there as a reminder that that's where we've been. So for me, when I hear somebody say, dude, I made enough money to, you know, I'm going to use Leslie's, I made enough money to pay for a truck payment, right? That's super cool. Because, yeah, she's made 2 truck payments now. I know this, right? So, and that's really cool to see that happen, because when that happens, you know that is debt that's being relieved from them that may not have happened otherwise. And it's a big blessing. So that's the, yeah, I went way off the rocker. So, thank you guys for being a part of this. It means a ton. I would love to help any of you who are like, dude, I'm definitely going to go for the executive thing. But know this, your pipeline, and I'm going to say this last, I'm going to wrap it up with this. Your pipeline is where it's at. If you don't have enough people that you've been speaking with to get people started, that's your start of your pipeline. The next pipeline is you've got to have enough people that you've gotten started to become consultants. Then you've got to have enough consultants that you've gotten started to become managers. And if any part of that pipeline is empty, then it just stops the flow of all of it. So you've got to have that pipeline. You've got to have had these conversations with enough people to have enough people open to the idea of becoming an associate, to have enough mindset to become a consultant, to have enough to become a manager, right? You've got to have that pipeline. And that's what this business is about, is keeping that pipeline flowing. Okay. All right. I'm done. I'll be finished. You guys got me jacked up. Let me talk about the executive, because I never talk about all the executive stuff. So it makes me, I get a little jacked up talking about it, because it is super cool. All right, everybody have a fantastic evening. Don't hesitate to reach out if I can help you. I'd love to help you guys rock and roll this thing. And John Wick, you're doing fantastic. He's got his.
Everyone tell John Wick not to run.
Yeah, John Wick, no running.
I forgot I put my name as John Wick, so I'm like, who are they talking about?
You were staring right at me when I said it. Come on, man.
Yep. Didn't even clue until Michaela said something about running. Yep, that's me. I got an exercise bike now.
Nice. Well done. Stay on it.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Have a fantastic evening.
Able to exercise in his garage.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.